Hey guys, it's Lukian, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for What If It's Us by Becky, Albertalli, and Silvera. This book was sent to me for review by Harper Collins, so thank you so much to them for sending this book to me. And What If It's Us comes out on October 9th, 2018 if you want to get yourself a copy. What If It's Us follows two main characters, Arthur and Ben, who meet each other at a post office in New York City, both with very different backgrounds. Arthur's only in the city for the summer because he is interning at his mother's law firm. Meanwhile, Ben has just been dumped by his boyfriend Hudson, and he's going to the post office to mail back all of his things. The two boys end up meeting at the post office and end up getting along and talking for a short period of time before they are quickly split apart, and neither of them have each other's contact information. So part of the story, they are trying to find each other in New York through websites and putting up posters in coffee shops, but when they are reunited, they begin to ask the question if the universe was pulling them apart or pushing them together, because after going on 3 failed first dates, they start to wonder. Now onto the writing of this book. I really enjoyed the writing. I am a type of person that I really just normally dislike first-person point of view novels. I just don't really love them. I can never really connect with a character, especially if it's fantasy, because I just feel like I'm always being pulled out of the story when someone is saying I, and I'm not actually doing that stuff. It's a weird mental thing that I just can't do it, but I thought that this book did it very well. This book is told in dual perspective, obviously from Arthur and Ben, and I believe both of the authors took on a different perspective. I'm not completely sure who took on each role, but I couldn't really tell, which I think is a good thing. The only books I've read from this author are, I've read History's All You Left Me from Silvera, and I read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. And I really enjoyed both of those books, so I was really interested to see how this book would go, especially since both authors tend to have very different tones. Adam's books are usually pretty sad, and it really makes you think. Meanwhile, Becky's books are more fun, and they have a really great group of characters that are all friends, so I was really curious to see what sort of tone this book would take. That's another problem that I usually have with contemporary books, is that I feel like I always am wanting more. I don't usually just love fluffy contemporary books. Sometimes I will reach for those, but with this book I felt that it dealt with both sort of parts of contemporary, like the serious, deep contemporary and the fluffy romance contemporary. But as I said, the writing is just absolutely amazing, and I didn't really feel, sometimes with co-authored books it feels very disjointed, and it feels like two authors that have voices that are completely different and probably shouldn't be blending them into one book. But I thought that Becky and Adam's writing was similar enough that it didn't feel like that, but it also wasn't too similar that it felt like both of the characters had the same voice. They are different in their own ways, and you can really tell that as you go through the story. Arthur is very optimistic, meanwhile Ben is kind of closed off, and it takes him a while to get to trust someone, especially with his recent breakup. But I thought that it was done very well, and I think that this is probably one of the most well done contemporary books that I've read. I just think that it was very well constructed, and it isn't one of those books where it's dual perspective, but it's not you know how some books it'll be the same character having 2 chapters and then the other character having 1. This book was split up evenly, so every alternating chapter it was a different character. As I said, this book does have some very serious content in it. There are a lot of really deep and emotional things, and there are also a lot of fluffy things, but there are some content warnings that I would like to put on this book so that you know before you go into it. There is cheating, homophobia, racism, and panic attacks, so if any of those influence your reading experience, I would definitely think about that before jumping into this book. Overall, I did really enjoy What If It's Us. It's not my favorite contemporary ever, but I did really enjoy the storyline, and I thought it was very unique. My 2 critiques with the novel, which is the reason that I didn't give it a full 5 stars, is because number 1, I thought it was very predictable. You could always tell what was happening, and as I said, they go on 3 failed first dates, and as soon as the date started, you knew what the character's problems would be with the date. You would be like, oh yeah, I know why he wouldn't want this date and why they would need to do it over again. So that was a little bit annoying, and you kind of always knew like when the incident was going to happen and like how the story would play out. So I thought that was kind of annoying. There were two big shocks in this book. I'm obviously not going to mention them because this is spoiler free, but you will know what I'm talking about when you read the book. It's just, they're very, very shocking, and I did not expect them, so I thought that was nice. And my second critique was that it was a very long book. And usually that doesn't faze me, but that's because I read a lot of fantasy. Like, I definitely read more fantasy than contemporary, but I think I'm not usually fazed by long books. But with contemporaries, I feel like if anything is over 400 pages, it's going to be a little bit, like, annoying because it's just going to be too long. But I think this book suffered from that a little bit. It was too dragged on for a certain point in time. Like, this book is split up into 4 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and then there's, like, an epilogue part. But I thought Part 2 was way too long. It was, like, 200 pages, which is longer than the other parts. And I thought that it just dragged way too much, so that's the reason that I gave this book 4.5 stars instead of 5 stars. But I think that some people will enjoy how this book was paced, because it didn't work for me, but I think that other people will enjoy it. So that is it for my review. As I said earlier, this book comes out on October 9th, 2018. I will have all the links for it in the description box below. You can check out the Goodreads page, and I will even link the pre-order campaign that's going on in the description box, so you should definitely check that out if you want to get your hands on a copy. I think that if you have read and enjoyed Becky and Adam's work, you will very much enjoy this book too, because it blends both of their voices very well, and I think you'll enjoy it. And even if you haven't read any of their books, I think you would still get a good reading experience out of this book, so definitely go check it out when it is released in October. But that is it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to see me do any other reviews in the future, please tell me in the comment section below. Again, thank you so much to Harper Collins for sending this book to me, and I will put their website in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!